The Scarriff native who has been appointed as the Papal Nuncio to the Czech Republic. Now, Papal Nuncio is essentially the Pope's representative in a country. Well, Archbishop Eugene Nugent, some of you might know him. He's served as a parish priest here in Ennis from the years of 1984 to 1987. He was ordained in the 1980s in the Killaloe Diocese, but has quite the CV. He's also been a Papal Nuncio in the Gulf region, in Kuwait, Bahrain and Qatar, in Turkey and in Iran and in Israel as well. So, and even in Madagascar and the Seychelles too. So I certainly feel like Archbishop Eugene Nugent is more than prepared for his excursion to Czechia. But nonetheless, Eugene joins us on the line now. Eugene, what was your reaction when you found out that Pope Leo had given you the call up and said, Eugene, I want to send you to Czechia?
Good morning, Dara. Good morning, and Dia Eve to all the listeners on Clare FM. Yes, it was quite a shock, to be honest. I guess a mixed reaction. First of all, I suppose gratitude to Pope Leo for his trust in me, appointing me to the Czech Republic. A country that's such a beautiful country in the heart of Europe, with a long history and really a rich culture. And then I guess on the other hand, certain sadness to be leaving Kuwait, Bahrain and Qatar after 5 years here, very intense period. Of course, ups and downs, like I suppose anywhere, but very enriching. And really I made a lot of friends here, and, saying goodbye is never easy. So I suppose, yes, a mixed reaction, gratitude and, tinged with sadness, I suppose, yes.
Certainly tinged with sadness, but just going over a bit of your CV there, Eugene, and the places you've been are quite incredible. And even the last 5 years in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar there in the Gulf region, places that at times come in for criticism internationally and could be described as volatile climates. Did you find it challenging there over the years?
Yes, of course, very challenging. This part of the world has always been a bit more volatile, actually. It kind of goes with the region here. A lot of challenges, a lot of internal problems here in these countries. And especially in the last few months since the war broke out. Actually, even this morning, I was just out early for a walk, and the sirens went off here again. This morning, we have a ceasefire here at the moment here in Kuwait, but the sirens went off this morning. Iran sent in some drones, and apparently they hit a US military base here in Kuwait. As you know, the United States, they have about 3 major military bases here in Kuwait, and this was in retaliation for some US strikes in Iran over the last 24 hours. A lot of volatility, certainly, indeed, yeah.
Oh my goodness! I didn't quite realise you'd be that close to the action. But just on your role as Papal Nuncio, essentially the Pope's representative, what does that job actually entail? What are your day-to-day duties of that? Yes,
day-to-day duties. I guess, like in any ambassador, first of all. Our main task is to, maintain good relations with the government that we're accredited to, trying to, build up contacts, make friends, really, and to make the best presentation of the church in whatever the country that I happen to be in. And then, as a nuncio, we sort of wear another hat, which is, for the church. I'm a sort of a link between, let's say, the Vatican and the local church here, and between the local church and back to the Vatican. So a lot of work, a lot of things, and numerous things can pass through the desk every day. All kinds of, from the sublime to the ridiculous, almost. But certainly never a dull moment. With a lot going on, certainly in the region, trying to follow, the politics of the region, trying to follow church affairs, both here and internationally, and trying to analyse and to report back to Rome as well. That's also a big part of our work.
So you're really the Pope's eyes on the ground there, and if a certain situation...
That's it, absolutely, yeah. That's very, very much the case. That will be the case, yes, in most countries, yes.
And you mentioned there, Eugene, that you could be dealing with anything from the sublime to the ridiculous. Could you give us maybe a little flavour of what that's involved over the years?
Oh, well, yes. Sublime, I suppose. For instance... yes, let's say in 2022, I was involved. I was kind of the main coordinator for the visit of Pope Francis to Bahrain. That was a major event, and so I consider that to be something sublime. And this year we had a visit from Cardinal Parolin here in Kuwait. He's like the equivalent of a prime minister. So these are, high-level, events. And then very mundane things, just like day-to-day correspondence, dealing with all kinds of queries, people in difficult situations, or meeting people, meeting groups, trying just to give a word of encouragement. Trying to support people here in the Gulf. Most of the Catholics they're not native to here. They're workers here. They've come from the Philippines, from India, from other countries here in the region, and trying to make a living. So our job is to try to encourage them and, support them in whatever way we can. So it's a very diversified kind of type of work, really. Very interesting, actually. Very, very interesting, very fulfilling. Yeah. Indeed.
And Eugene, I'd love to touch back on some of your experiences in the Middle East in a moment. But look, you've been, as mentioned, the countries already. Like, you've been in some of the most tumultuous places in the world at boiling point periods. Even Turkey, even Israel, in the 1990s and in the 2010s. But you're no stranger to devastation and tragedy. You were in Haiti after the earthquake, and you were essentially coordinating efforts to rebuild homes and rebuild communities. Could you tell us a bit of what you saw there and what that was like?
Yes, that was very, very... that experience marked me a lot. I was there from 2015 until 21. I spent 6 years in Haiti. So the earthquake was in about 2010, I think. Our job that time was particularly with the reconstruction of churches and convents and schools had been destroyed by the earthquake. It was a terrible earthquake. I don't know if you recall that. About 250,000 people were killed in Haiti in that earthquake, including the Archbishop of the capital city. Quite a lot of priests were killed, and nuns. The convents were destroyed, and even seminarians. So a very traumatic period. And so I came in then in 2015, and we had a whole system of projects. I must say the United States Bishops' Conference, they helped us a lot, of course, coordinated through the Vatican. We set up, a local committee there, and involved with the reconstruction of churches, and of course not easy trying to get in materials and trying to make sure that all the money was being properly used, that everything was transparent. Yeah. And then, on a human level, not easy, to see people living in tents and with practically nothing, and we had to, working very closely with Caritas and other aid agencies. The Irish actually were very much involved there as well. So I was coordinating, working with them as well. We had Trócaire and Concern were also involved in Haiti at that time.
Yeah, of course, huge Irish humanitarian effort over there following that.
Yes, there was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Yes, and very much appreciated.
And Eugene, when you first went out studying to be a priest, and I know that took you to the University of Rome and everything, and very quickly back to Ennis, did you ever think you'd end up going all the way around the world, or that you'd be what do you think made you stand out as a suitable candidate to be an ambassador for the Catholic Church on the world stage?
Yes, certainly. I never thought I'd be doing this kind of work at all. My whole idea was that I would, be back in the diocese. In fact, I worked in Ennis, as you mentioned there, for 3 years, 3 wonderful years. 1984 to 87. Actually, I wasn't the parish priest. I think you mentioned that, but I wasn't the parish priest. I was a young curate, just a young fellow. That was a great experience. And then Bishop Hartley, God rest him, at the time, he asked me to go back to Rome. He felt I needed to do a bit of more study. I needed to polish up canon law, because the new code of canon law had come out in 1983. So I went back to Rome in 87 and started doing a doctorate in that. And then in 1989, it was the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Wow.
And that had a big effect on me, in the sense that the Vatican had to reopen nunciatures, embassies that had been closed for years, like Poland and Hungary and Czechoslovakia, interestingly, where I'm going now, that had been closed for years. And so they needed personnel urgently. So they asked Bishop Harty if he would release me to work in this area. So he got in touch with me, and he asked me, so what can you say? You just say yes. And so I started on this road. Did some studies there at the academy, our academy for diplomacy in Rome, and then finished my doctorate and started out in Turkey. That was my first assignment. A Muslim country, predominantly Muslim country. My first experience with working with Muslims. So very interesting, really. And then moving on to so many other different countries down the years. Bit of a traveller.
Has your job ever involved in yourself ending up in personal danger? Were you ever concerned for your own safety?
In danger in Haiti, yes. In certain days, certain moments, we had a bulletproof car, actually, which we didn't use very much, but occasionally we had to use it when there were riots going on in the downtown. And I remember I had to go to a mass, and so we took out the bulletproof car, and there was rioting going on, and there were fires on the roads with tires and that, and you'd certainly feel a certain danger, but thank God nothing happened.
And Eugene, now obviously you're off to Prague, you're off to Czechia. Do you think that maybe that's a reward for all the places you've been over the years, and maybe Pope Leo is saying we need this fella to be able to relax for a while? Or is there any situations there you're aware of that you need dealing with?
Well, every country, of course, has its own challenges. I'm sure the Czech Republic, would have its own challenges as well. I think in terms of the church, the Czech Republic, is a country that was under communism for a long time, and that has left a mark, with atheism that was sort of imposed there. And while the Czech Republic itself was a predominantly Catholic Christian country, today, many of the Czech people have drifted away from the practice of the faith. So that will be certainly a challenge, working with the local bishops and priests and trying to see, what we can do to stimulate the faith and church life there again, in the heart of Europe. So certainly, I think that would certainly be a challenge.
Certainly, but based on your experience, it definitely sounds like they have the right man for the job. Archbishop Eugene Nugent, thank you very much for joining us today. We wish you the very best of luck on your appointment as the Papal Nuncio to the Czech Republic, and hopefully we can get you back in the not too distant future to find out how we've been getting on and to hear of your new excursions.
Thank you, Dara, and thank you so much. Thank you for holding this interview. I really appreciate it, and thank you very much. Garo Mahagat.